The Blackhawks veterans were optimistic yesterday, but they offered a cautionary tale to the Hawks young players. We'll talk about it and make our Stanley Cup playoff predictions next on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use that code CHGO365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Jay Zawoski. That's Mario Tirabassi. Sarah is with us running the show in spirit. We're all remote. We're all missing each other very, very much. Thanks for being here. Hope everyone's having a good Friday on this weird, hot, humid, windy, rainy Friday. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page. Yes, Mario?
Did you just railroad your own Good Friday pun?
No, I was intentional.
Oh, okay.
If it's clever, I did it on purpose, whether I know it or not.
Gotcha.
Those are my rules. And after you like and subscribe on YouTube, head over to your favorite podcast app and make sure you are following or subscribed there. We've got a lot to get to today. We mentioned we're going to make our Stanley Cup playoff predictions. We're going to do that in the second half of the show. But today we're going to start with a little bit of the stuff that fell through the cracks at yesterday's end of season airing of grievances, or whatever you want to call it. And that last year was an airing of grievances. Yesterday was a shower of positivity.
Different vibe yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say this stuff fell through the cracks. There's just so much to get to.
Yeah.
That we needed an overflow day too.
I think we talked for literally words came out of our mouths for maybe 12 seconds yesterday during the show. It was just a lot of video, but it was a lot of important stuff. So if you missed yesterday's show, it still holds up. Go back and check it out. Lots of good comments from everybody. Again, much different feel from last year's exit interviews. That's for sure. However, there was a little bit of a wet blanket in the room. It got some people's attention. And that's where we're going to start today. We're going to start with Jason Dickinson, who was asked, hey, I know the standings similar, but, the vibes seem better. Does it feel different after the season, Jason Dickinson?
You guys finished in the standings the same place as last year, but with that youth, does it feel different at this time of year than it did a season ago?
No. Finishing in this position never feels good, never feels better any year, because the result is the same. It doesn't matter what players you put on the ice year after year. If you're getting that same result, it doesn't matter. Do I feel like there is hope? Maybe, but camp can roll around, and all the guys that came in, they played with a ton of adrenaline, they played with a ton of excitement. Maybe that kind of dissipates a little bit, and we're not moving as far forward as I might think we would in camp, just based on what I saw at the end of this season. You'd think that will happen, but it's not necessarily the truth. But there are good players. I never got to see Renzel play before. I never got to see Moore play before. I didn't get to see all that. So having an eye for it now, I get a sense of who the players are and what they're going to bring to the group, and that gives me a little bit more direction as to where things are heading.
Yeah, so look, that's a guy who wants to win. It's a guy who is proud. It's a guy who is not satisfied with second to last and shouldn't be. And I think everyone was kind of hoping for 100% positivity yesterday, and I would say it was still 95%. But I think Dickinson's message is, let's not get lulled to sleep by the late season fun we had. And let's remember that through 82 games, there's going to be those days where you don't feel up to it, and you've got to be up to it.
Yeah, I mean, what he said, he's not wrong. There is a lot that I think can play into, some of these young guys getting in at the end of the year, and especially like Renzel and Moore, like they're coming in off the end of their college seasons where they were in winning programs, and they are feeding off of the adrenaline that comes with making your NHL debut. All of a sudden you go from economics class to you're in Montreal playing in the Bell Center, and you have a chance to delay the Canadians making the playoffs, and it's a raucous, sold out crowd. Like, it's completely different experiences, and you can feed off of that, and your play can feed off of that. I think Frank Nazar had a little bit of that last year, where he comes in from Michigan. There's a lot of excitement for him to get into the NHL. Scores in his first game in the first period he ever plays, and I think that propelled a lot of that that energy. So when you come in fresh, it's going to be a different animal, and these guys are going to have to be able to continue the level of play that they had, and not avoid any drop off. And I think this coming from Dickinson is not unexpected, because he always seems to be the guy that tries, or that is more or less more of the realist in the group whenever you talk with him. And I think he went through, coming off of last year with Jason Dickinson, one of his best, probably his best year of his career. He comes in and didn't have the offensive production that he did last year. Was still, solid defensively, but wasn't as, we were talking about him in getting Selke votes last year. Wasn't as strong in that aspect of the game this year. Dealt with injuries, and then boom, his season's cut short with the wrist injury. So, he's a guy that I think just had a really difficult year. So he might be a little bit of, the outside narrative, the future of the organization kind of doesn't involve him. So I'm not surprised that he's in a spot where he's like, this is great, but it's so far from a done deal. And I think he's probably trying to say, be real about everything.
Well, there's a lot there. So I think first and foremost, like, the realist part is, this is a guy who is probably looking around the room, and you're right, feeling frustrated to not be there. B, maybe feeling like there might not be a spot for me on this team anymore. Which is, I don't think it's a 0% chance that he gets moved this offseason. And he also isn't. So as the team's on the ice and having success, whether it results in 2 points or not, he's up there watching it, right? He's not down there feeling those vibes, feeling that energy, feeling the excitement. And he's seeing losses and coming into the room after a loss, and the team isn't hurting, or the team isn't feeling like it's a big deal. And I could see a guy like Dickinson being like, how can you, we just lost again. Why is everyone talking? Why is everyone laughing? Why is everyone having a good time? And I don't, you're in the locker room more than I am. I haven't been at all after games, because I'm doing the show. But it just, I remember when I played football in high school, like, if you lost, you just had to sit there and like sulk. No one could talk on the bus ride home, and it almost became a little performative. Like, okay, like, Mount Carmel just beat us 55-0. Can we?
What'd you expect?
We knew it was coming. All right, can we laugh and joke on the way home? Does that have to be miserable 100% of the time? No, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I think Dickinson's kind of like, we haven't done anything. Everyone's super happy. Everyone's having fun. We haven't done anything. And I think it's just a warning to, hey, it feels great, but not yet. And I think, Sarah, this is the second time I've thrown you a curveball today. Finding the second one in the mini pod tomorrow. Let's go to Connor Murphy next, because Connor Murphy made up a pretty good point, which I think kind of ties into what Dickinson had to say.
The start of next season and getting ready for the grind, is that something you'll have to talk to some of the young guys about, that what you experienced over 9 to 15 to 20 games is not what you're going to experience?
It's a different ball game. I think it has its different challenges. We're not going to discredit at all these last games, but teams that were playing, you could see it on their faces in the game that they weren't as in tune to it, playing against us, knowing that we were way out of the playoffs, and a lot of teams are just trying to stay healthy going into playoffs. So you feel a little bit of that. But the start of the season is a whole different animal. Everyone's starting from a clean slate, and everyone's trying to put their best foot forward. So it'll definitely be a different ballgame for young guys coming in and proving themselves. But with that being said, it's really hard to do what they did. Like I said, coming in at the end of the season, not having time to integrate with the team, and then being thrown to the wolves with a lot of big situations. So for them to be able to go through rookie camps and training camp and exhibition games and systems with the coach to start the year, I think that'll be really helpful for everyone. And it'll be exciting to feel that energy that they'll still have and give, because I imagine it's all so fresh to them still that they'll be able to step in and try to prove themselves and try to take the reins. And it'll be exciting to see which guys really step forward to bring this team to a better level.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to be ready for an equal playing field for every team, right? Everyone's 0-0. Everyone's got playoff hopes. Everyone's going to be game one going as hard as they can. And they certainly ran into that at the end of this year, where teams are like, don't have much to play for. We're going to rest some guys. We're going to play 80% so no one gets hurt. And I think it led to some of the, I don't want to take anything away from what the Hawks did at the end of the year, but I do think there's some reality in there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you go into October of next season, everyone is the healthiest they've been. Everybody's starting, they know that, yeah, you can't win a Stanley Cup in October, but you can definitely put yourself in a bad spot to try and, gain ground. So each team wants to start the season fast. So you're not having teams, take their foot off the gas just because, okay, it's March, it's April, we're all battered and bruised. Some of us have our tea time scheduled already. Like it's a much different mentality that, the opponents are going to have. So it's a much different mentality that the Blackhawks are going to have too. Like you can't just come in and say, "Ooh, I'm the shiny new toy." Like that's going to wear off as much as we are still excited to see a lot of these guys. If it wore off of Connor Bedard, it can wear off of anybody. Where, the breaking down your game and what you do need to work on and all that, that's going to come for a lot of these guys from, the not only the actual on ice and the coaches and all that stuff, but also from the fan perspective as well. So they're going to have to be ready for that right off the jump. And I think that's why you need some of these guys. That's why you need a Nick Foligno and a Connor Murphy and a Jason Dickinson moving forward, who, they can do what they're preaching for the most part on the ice night in and night out. But they're also, they're going to have to be the ones kind of holding these guys accountable going through next season, until that like rest of that group all gets, more weight behind their voices as young guys.
Good points by you, Mario. A couple people reacting differently to Jason Dickinson. The Majestic American Woodcock says, I think the part of what rubs me wrong is the way he basically said, yeah, these young players look good now, but next year they might suck. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think what Jason Dickinson is trying to communicate, and he knows cameras are on and he knows microphones are on, and he knows that a good part of his team will see what he said. He is cautioning them to, this is not acceptable. The results are not acceptable. And you can't, because you had a good 9 games or 40 games or whatever it might be, rest on your laurels and think you're going to come in next year and everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's not. And you've got to be ready to go, and you've got to prepare in the offseason. Like nothing is done here. Like Frank Nazar, you cannot check the box now as a, 0.6 point per player game, game per point per game player, right? You've not accomplished anything yet. You've not proven anything yet. You had a good run. Levshinov, you had a good run. Good, bad spots, right? Sam Renzel, you look great for a handful of games. It's not over yet, and you have to keep doing that work to maintain that level of performance. And like you said, Mario, Dickinson is not a guy he does not suffer fools. He is not, Captain Sunshine in the locker room, but it's good. You need someone like that to kind of, hey, to steal a term from the kids, keep it real. Okay. You got to keep it real in there. And I think
keep it 100.
Yeah, right. It's important for the kids to get that message of, that was great. However,
yeah,
nothing's done yet. And you haven't done nearly enough yet to feel as good as maybe you're feeling at this moment.
Yeah. And I wouldn't think that Jason Dickinson hasn't already expressed that or similar feelings or thoughts to the team prior to. I mean, think about the game in Pittsburgh, players only meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Dickinson also was there for that and probably spoke up too.
All right, we got to hit the break zone. Before we do, reminder, Die Hard sale going on right now, $36 for the year in celebration of the upcoming NFL draft next week in Green Bay. Should be a lot of fun. Green Bay, sure, get yourself some cheese. That'll be a good time. So take advantage of the sale, scan that QR code on your screen right now, or go to allchgo.com, click that Die Hard tab to join. If you're a diehard and you're in our bracket challenge, get your picks in because the playoffs start Saturday at 5 p.m. Blues and Jets. So do that. If you want in, become a diehard, join our Discord, and go find the pinned, what do you call it? Disky? I don't know what you call it. Thing in Discord.
The Discord message.
Find the message that's pinned in the Blackhawks channel to join. I've also plugged it in there a bunch of times, so you should be able to find it. Get those picks in. And as a reminder, make sure your username is a way we can find you. Have it match your Discord name. So if you win, we can find you and give you your prize. All right.
That helps.
Back in a moment on CHGO Blackhawks, presented by Bet365.
You know what you were mentioning the draft and the fun things to do in Green Bay. One of the most fun things to do in Green Bay is go to Milwaukee. And going to Milwaukee is what our CHGO Cubs crew is going to be doing. And you could do that too. You can kick off your summer right with the CHGO Cubs crew with Cody, Luke, and Corey as they are taking the party north of the border to the Milwaukee Brewers. And it's all going down on Friday, May 3rd at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel in Milwaukee. What is included with this trip? Well, it is a pregame party in a private room at the Potawatomi Casino and Hotel, a live CHGO Cubs show, so you can come hang out with the crew, talk baseball, just straight up vibe out. There's a lunch buffet and a drink ticket that's involved, so you can get the good times rolling there. Plus, if you are 21, you can get yourself $100 in casino play with a Potawatomi rewards card. There's some add-ons available as well. Like you can get a ticket to the game and sit with the CHGO crew in the lower outfield on the Cubs side of the field. And you can also make an entire weekend out of it with adding on a one-night stay at the Potawatomi Casino and Hotel for Saturday night. So these tickets are going to go fast. Do not wait. May 3rd is coming up quicker than you know. Find all this information and get your tickets at allchgo.com/events. You can go to allchgo.com, go to our events tab, and find the CHGO Cubs crew going up to Milwaukee on May 3rd.
Milwaukee is lit, as the kids say. Hey, what do you know the name of the place, Mario? It's like West End Tap. It's like got great wings.
Yes, I've been there many times.
That's what it's called.
They are fantastic.
Yes, if you're in Milwaukee, go get those. 100%.
Mhm.
Okay, back to business. Hey, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We've been telling you that for a little while now. And if you've not signed up yet, new customers now get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. Sign up. Use the code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins or loses. And with the Bet365 NHL early payout offer, if your team gains a 3-goal lead, you're a winner with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up, because when you do, you'll get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. So again, sign up. Use that code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Those bonus bets can be used on the spreads, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. All right. Go ahead.
I believe it's called East Side Tap, if I'm remembering correctly.
It's something with great wings. To the internet. Great wings.
I'm pretty sure it's that one. I haven't been there in 10 years because that's
I got it. Points East Pub.
I knew some directional something.
Yes, that is what it is. Points East Pub. I will tell you, there's no kids allowed. It's kind of like a speakeasy. Like you have to wait inside
It's
until
small.
there's room for you, but it's
small. Yeah.
Fire.
And the wings are not sauced. They're just and you don't choose how you get them. They are the wings. They're delicious.
Trust the process, as David Carl would say, but he would spell it wrong. All right, I know we got a super chat or two we've got to get to here, Sarah. Let's do that real quick. I know we have one from our pal Alan K. $5 says, great show, great group. Thumbs up emoji. Thank you, Alan. We love you and appreciate you. Mike Heilman, $2 says, what record should the Hawks have next season? Ask me in October, because I have no idea what the roster looks like. Should be better.
Yeah, what we said today would change by September. Yeah.
Yeah. Lebowski 5 says 82-0. So there you go. Put it down. 82-0 from Lebowski 5. All right. Continuing
82-0-0.
Well, of course. Yeah. You don't want those OTLs. Final piece of sound when it regards to these little warnings for the young players. How about the captain, Nick Foligno? He explains how this team has an opportunity to be great and they have to seize that opportunity.
When you're that young group, and that was the challenge I kind of said to these guys, I'm like, you have an opportunity here to be part of what turns this entire franchise around. And I said, that's really exciting that you guys can all grow together and find your own leadership roles within that and have people there to mentor you along as you go, but learn but do it together, right? Like find your voice or your way you're going to impact the game. And, I'm watching guys do that, and it's pretty neat. I mean, it's cool because I think you are going to kick yourself one day if you look back and say, I was part of that core, but I didn't want to commit myself to it enough. And look at those guys now when they're raising the cup in 5, 6, 7 years. Hopefully it's next year. But that's the cool part of sports, and like when you have an opportunity to really build it from the ground up. And these guys, I think, have realized that, and I hope they take it to heart this summer and like come in with that attitude, a little bit of swagger. Like this is their team, As much as I'm the cap, like this is their team, and I know that, and I think it's exciting for me to hand it off to whoever. And know it's going to be in great hands, And there's enough guys in that room that can do it, and you see it out of them. Now you got to pull it out of them, and they have to realize it. But it's all part of maturing, and I think you saw that. You watched how Vlasic matured this year. I watched Frank Nazar mature a lot before my eyes. I'm really proud of that kid. Like he really came to play this year and took it to heart. And obviously there's ebbs and flows, but I thought his game really took off. I think Bedsy has improved a lot as a person, as a player. I'm really encouraged by him. I know there's enough said about but he's going to be a hell of a player, and he's a great person. And it's neat to see how he's kind of gone through that process as well. And there's probably a list of more, and even a guy like Spencer Knight coming in too, and Sodi, and like that. I can keep going through the whole room, and there's good pieces here. It's just a matter of guys realizing it, but respecting it and knowing that this wasn't good enough, and we have to come in with a really different attitude of a standard next year and get to it right away, and never look back.
That's it. So just, you may have caught it, but that answer was actually in the middle, because Nick he has long answers, as we know. He was initially asked about, does he see like a leadership group forming from who's there? And he kind of added that towards the end. But it's, again, I really like that point he made of, you don't want to be the guy who doesn't work hard, gets pushed out of a job, and then looks back and says, damn, I was right there and I just didn't do enough to stay. And I thinking right off the top of my head, somebody like Lucas Reichel, right? Who is very in danger of that old change of scenery trade. Yeah. He mentioned yesterday working with a skills coach for the first time, wants to prioritize his board work, which is a good idea. So he's, I think, message received. And it's important to remember too, that these guys come to talk to us directly after talking to Kyle Davidson and his staff about their seasons. Yeah. So I would think very few of them got A+. but I'm sure Lucas Reichel was not a guy who was probably very happy leaving that meeting. He was asked about it, didn't say, "Oh yeah, I got torn a new one" or anything, which is not Kyle Davidson's character, we know, but I just think you could tell from the vibes that he realizes this is kind of going to be a make or break season for him.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of guys that are going to come into the organization that they have high expectations for, and Lucas Reichel at one point was one of those guys. He was 2 seasons ago we were hammering the table saying, why is Lucas Reichel up and down and up and down? He needs to get extended time playing with Bedard, all that stuff. And then now you're at the point where he could be one of those guys that is just like, well, might be leapfrogged here. So, it's going to be big, big seasons or a big season next year for him. But yeah, I mean, I think with where Foligno is at in his career, with what he's been tasked with doing since being in Chicago, I think he's finally got enough of those guys that, he's had to kind of mentor and mold and get them ready for the NHL more than just Connor Bedard. Like, I think he's got a number of those guys in the room now that he's, probably talking to and giving a lot of, pointers and lessons and all that stuff too, and just kind of helping get ready for the NHL. That, he makes the comment of us like, it's exciting to think about, I'll hand off, my time here and the captaincy and all that stuff to this group, and he's feeling more and more comfortable and confident that the guys that he's going to do it for are going to be able to handle it and take the team to the next level. That this is the direction everybody wants to go, and the message of him being like, as much as I'm the captain, this is their team.
Yeah,
I think that's what we had been saying for a few months, about like, let this young group start taking over the team. It's no longer, you didn't have to have Taylor Hall and Seth Jones and all these guys be the forward facing players. Like, the forward facing guys are the young guys coming in, and I think that is what slowly has turned the culture around, really getting it going in the right direction.
Yeah, I love that he said that. He's like, I'm the captain, but this is their team. That's huge for them to hear that from him. And maybe they've heard it before, I don't know, but for him to say it publicly, like, hey, look, I recognize I got the C on my sweater. I'm here to guide, I'm here to lead, but it's time to hand this thing off to these kids.
Yeah.
That's huge for them. And I think Foligno yesterday used the term addition by subtraction. And I think we can speculate as to how big of a problem, air quotes, Seth Jones might have been. But I think more than him being a word that is thrown around way too much, like a clubhouse cancer, locker room cancer, I don't think that was the case. But I think his frustration with the status of the team was probably palpable, and his impatience was probably palpable. And I think you probably got a little bit of Taylor Hall saying, hey, we're not good, and I'm still in the bottom 6. Like, what's going on? And I think some of that may have permeated a little bit too. Yeah. So you flush that stuff out. They're both, Jones is doing fine in Florida. Taylor Hall's got success in Carolina. Great. Like, they're better situations for those guys where they can just go kind of be depth guys and do their thing, and they're winning, so everyone's happy.
Right.
It's better for them. But I think with that cleansed out, are there a few remaining people with that attitude? I don't know. I don't think so.
Connor
Murphy? No.
Doesn't seem like it.
I mean, he did. No. Murphy did say yesterday, like, that this year was trying on him because it's like another year of my career where.
Yeah, I mean, he has technically played in the playoffs, but not really. Yeah, I mean, he's been here. He didn't enjoy any of the Dynasty Hawks years. He's been here for all the rough parts. So I'm sure, it'd be nice for him. He's on an expiring deal next year. Who knows what the future for him looks like in Chicago beyond next year, even if if we don't know if there is one. So it would be nice if this group, these guys that are going to come in and play, big roles with the team next year, I think for him, it'd be nice if they could all play the way that they've been playing the last month or so, carry that into next year and give him the opportunity to play some meaningful games late into the season, and who knows from what could happen.
Yeah. All right, got to hit the break zone one more time. When we come back, we're going to make our NHL Stanley Cup playoff predictions. Do us a favor, if you've not done it yet, hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. Back with more on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast presented by Bet365.
And hey, summer is going to be here before you know it. Is your home air conditioning up for the challenge? 4 seasons. I did that again. 4 Seasons Heating and Cooling has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years, and now is the time to get your air conditioning checked out. And 4 Seasons' experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. If you did not know, 2024 was officially Chicago's hottest year on record. The heat index even reached 114 degrees last summer at O'Hare. That is hot.
That sucks.
When it's hot and humid, you want to know your home will be cool and comfortable. Just because you have to sweat out the upcoming draft lottery does not mean that you need to sweat it out in your house this summer. 4 Seasons' expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service, and 4 Seasons doesn't charge more for service during nights, weekends, or holidays. Their AC tune-up special is just $89.95 and includes a 1-year no breakdown guarantee. I love a good no breakdown guarantee. If you ever show me one, I love it. Your trusted local experts are 4 Seasons Heating and Cooling. Visit 4 Seasons heatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. Again, that's 4 Seasons heatingandcooling.com.
And just like your favorite team needs a home ice advantage, your home that you live in needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. Those big box stores might have a flooring department, but that person helping you with flooring today was probably flipping toilet plungers the day before. You don't want that. You want experts, and that's what Empire Today has.
Wait, do people flip toilet plungers?
I mean, flip them, like selling them. Like, hey, I'm flipping these. Look at me selling these toilet plungers. Funny story. One time I was in a big box store. I said, hey, where are the toilet plungers? And the guy said, are you Jay Zawoski? And I said, yes. Where are the toilet plungers?
Do you know me from my work with toilet plungers?
Exactly. Anyway, they would never do that at Empire. Why? They don't have toilet plungers. They're your best bet for a new floor. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they'll be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. That's convenient. You can get precise measurements taken and have all your questions answered, so there are no surprises, and you know exactly what you're going to get. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day because you're ready for these floors in your home. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home, like podcasts. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard me correctly. A $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. Before we make our picks, we should comment on the article that Joe Smith of The Athletic wrote today.
Yes. If you missed it, in The Athletic, Joe Smith did a little deep dive into the program at the University of Denver with David Carl, a program that, if you go through the article and you kind of been paying attention to the to what's been going on with the school, they definitely going to be going through some transition here because they're losing a lot of key pieces to their team. As we all know, Aiden Thompson is leaving school. He's with the Rockford Ice Hogs right now. Their goaltender
David Carl leaving for the Blackhawks. Oh, sorry.
Maybe.
Door open.
You got ghosts?
Or the dogs in here.
Oh boy. Goaltender Matt Davis is leaving. He's been a big part of their championship runs recently. Zeev Buyam is gone. Jack Devine is leaving as well. Like they're having a lot of guys leave that team, and they're gonna have to go through a lot of transitions. So it was kind of just talking about the way Carl operates the program and how he, views the future. And it was very interesting. A number of comments in there from Carl. You know, if I wasn't keyed into the Blackhawks and all that stuff and was just a general hockey observer, I would say that does not sound like a guy who is looking to leave anytime soon. So it was just an interesting read. A lot of really good information in there from Joe Smith. So I encourage everyone to go check it out at The Athletic to get the full scope of things. But I mean, David Carl's been, the topic of the day. So it was just an interesting read for sure.
Yeah. I sort of agree that those were the vibes, but was it clear we went during the Frozen Four, right? He was sort of following them around. So, phone calls have happened since then and agents have been contacted and those sort of things. It just, over the course of the last week, there's been a lot of smoke around David Carl and the Hawks. So I don't know. We'll see. I get it. And he said in there, like, I'm not just going to leave for any opportunity. There's got to be a path to winning. It's obviously got to be a life-changing sort of a situation, which I think financially the Hawks would provide to him. But does he believe in this young Hawks core the way that we do? The answer is we don't know. So we'll find out. If he is standing at the lectern in a couple of weeks as the new Blackhawks head coach, we have our answer to that question. So
that's a definitive answer.
Yes. Okay. Picks. Ready? Let's start with the East.
In the East, let me pull up my bracket challenge, the official picks here. All right.
Oh, yeah. Good time to remind people again, get your brackets in. And I don't know, before we do it, Mario, are you like me with your bracket where you just open the bracket and you just go like gut feel, gut feel, gut feel, gut feel? That's how I do it for college when I'm not making chalk. But I don't overthink my brackets. I think this team is better, therefore I think you're going to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I think that is that's the way that I went this time around.
All right, let's start with the Eastern Conference. Let's do Leafs and Ottawa first.
Leafs and Sens. I went with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I just think, as much history as there's been for them to get bounced in the first round, I don't think it happens against Ottawa. I think it's gonna be a fantastic opening series. Battle of Ontario. I can't remember the last time we saw that. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But I think the Leafs, especially the way they've been playing to end the season, I think they're in a really good spot.
Yeah, I agree. I've got the Leafs winning as well. I think Ottawa's going to give them a fight. They're going to be kind of a pain in the ass and make it more difficult on the Leafs than many expect. But Leafs are just too good. I also think it feels like for the first time in a long time, the spotlight is off Toronto a little bit. And I don't know if that's because it has been shined directly onto Edmonton. Like, hey, are you guys ever going to win a cup? Like that spotlight is turned from the Leafs to the Oilers. And I'm wondering if they can play a little looser that way in that regard. So I've got the Leafs winning that series in 6 games.
I also have it in 6.
Okay, next one, Tampa and Florida. The Battle of Florida.
This one for me comes down to Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
And if he's not there, or if he's not, even he doesn't even have, no one's going to be 100%, especially him. But if he's not even like 75, 80% of Matthew Tkachuk, it's hard to bet against Tampa. So if he's there and he's as Matthew Tkachuk as he could be, then I think you're going to have, a really tough, maybe 7-game series and hard to go against the defending champions. But if he's not there or he's not there enough to be a big factor, I'm going Tampa.
I too am going Tampa. I've got them winning it in 7 games. I think that we have a situation here where, as you mentioned, Matthew Tkachuk is not 100%. And I just think that Florida back-to-back cup finals, eventually they run out of gas. I think this is the first round matchup they most wanted to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really tough. I mean, the Lightning are playing so well. Nikita Kucherov, 121 effing points, leads the league in scoring as the year ends. Is just an incredible player. You got Brandon Hagel with 35 even strength goals this year?
35 goals and 0 power play goals, which it was some sort of, I think it might have been the most goals a player has ever scored in a season without having a power play goal.
I believe that's true. I think I saw that social media graphic as well.
That's insane.
You've got Jake Gensel over 40 goals. You've still got a strong core defense. And by the way, Andrei Vasilevsky in goal.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a good thing for the Panthers because I don't think they can win the cup in their current health situation. So maybe an early out lets them recover and reload and get ready again for next season because they're a great team. I just think that they're catching Tampa at the wrong time. So I've got Tampa in 7.
Yep.
Next up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I have it in 6.
Okay. Next up, Caps and Canadiens.
Capitals, Canadiens. See, the Capitals are such a weird team because, like, I don't think anyone. I think they got off to such a hot start this year, and I think a lot of people were just like, "Oh, okay, well, that's an oddity," and then they just did not falter at all, just until after the record was broken, and then I think they just had like a team wide adrenaline dump to finish the season. But I think once now you get into the postseason. I think they're a really solid team. I think you carry that into the postseason, top seed. I do caution them to not take the last seed lightly because this is a Canadiens team that's coming in with a ton of momentum, and they've just added Ivan Demidov. Like it's not a typical 8th seed in a conference. So I'm still going to go with the Capitals. I think it's going to be a fun series. I think the games in Montreal are going to be a lot of fun to watch because that's just a market that's so crazy when it comes to postseason hockey. But I have the Capitals moving on.
I actually have Montreal winning this series in 7 for the reasons you said. I think they've got nothing to lose. They're playing with a ton of swag, a ton of attitude. I think Sam Montembeault is better than he's getting credit for, and he's going to make a name for himself in this series. I like them in 7. I know I kind of am rooting for them a little bit. I want them to do well. But I do think like you're right about the Caps. Like why are they this good? It just doesn't make sense.
I know.
Like they're a good team and they're deep and everything, but it's like I don't know.
I think what really helps is that Pierre-Luc Dubois actually likes where he's playing. So he's been good. So
yeah.
So I think that's a big factor too.
All right, next up we have Carolina and New Jersey. Without Jack Hughes, I've got Carolina winning this one in 5.
I have it in 6, but I also have Carolina. I think they're still too good of a team. And yeah, New Jersey, like they can put up a fight, but they don't have their guy that's going to put them over the top. So I'll go with Carolina.
All right. Let's start the Western Conference. I know we're going to have to hit the break zone again soon, but let's do the Jets and Blues. Next, I think much like Ottawa, St. Louis is going to be a massive pain in the ass for the Jets. However, this is a team I believe in, the Jets, to make some noise. I don't have them winning the cup, but they've got the best goalie in the world. And I know he's a different guy in the playoffs, but eventually as a team around him is better, he's going to be better. I've got the Jets winning this one in 6.
I also have the Jets in 6. I think St. Louis is going to make it a nice struggle for the Winnipeg, but I think they're just a more supremely talented team. And if ever there was a year for Connor Hellebuyck to change the narrative about him in the postseason, it's a year in which he's getting consideration for the Hart Trophy. I think he's been playing so well, and Josh Morrissey's playing really well for this team. Neil Pionk just got a contract extension, so you don't have any worries about that. Like he's coming back, so that could play a factor in just a good feeling for the team. They're just a stacked team. I love watching Kyle Connor play. Like I got Winnipeg in this one.
Yeah, I just fear the Jets or the Blues will be bluesy and annoy everybody and win. And I
hope not.
don't want that. I don't need it. We don't need a repeat of 2018. I'm good. I'm good on that. All right, hitting the break zone one more time. Promise we'll be back quickly. Hit that like button for us. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll talk to you in a moment on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast presented by Bet365.
And if you are looking to get out to your favorite sporting event or concert or theater show or whatever it is, check out our friends at Game Time. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier because Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And like I said, the great thing about Game Time is that, yes, it is catered to the sporting event side of things, but they have so many different venues and shows that you can go see. It's not just sports. Like I said, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, like whatever you want to get your butt in a seat for, there's a great chance that Game Time has a way to do it, and they're going to do it by saving you money. With their curation, it makes it super easy to save money on all those events. Their all-in pricing feature is great because it allows you to see the total up front, so there's no surprise fees when you get to checkout. And they have the view from your seat function, which gives you a panoramic view from the seat that you're looking at to see what you're going to be looking at. If you've ever been to a venue or an arena or anything like that that you've never been to, you can get an idea for what it's going to look like. And tomorrow, season finale, regular season finale for your Rockford Ice Hogs against the Rosemont Wolves. You want to get to that game, $24 gets your butt in a seat right there in row A of section 205. So no one in front of you. You're on the 200 level. It's like the perfect seat for hockey. Gets you looking right down the ice. It's like you're playing a video game, basically. So you could do that. You can check out Game Time for those tickets and any other tickets that you want to hit up. And you can save money with our code. You download the app, you create an account, and use the code CHGO. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. So I just said $24 get you in. It's going to be $4 with our code CHGO. Again, create an account, redeem the code CHGO, $20 off. Download Game Time today because what time is it?
Game time. I was waiting for Sarah to jump in
Bueller?
there.
Yeah. Bueller.
And whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Who do you like in the Stanley Cup? Bet
I'm telling you.
That's it. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I pause because the copy says March Madness is coming.
It came and went.
It's technically correct. It is coming.
Next March.
Yes. We've got some time for that. All right. On to the rest of we got to speed up here. We're getting late. Dallas, Colorado. Mario, your thoughts?
A matchup between DNVR and DLLS.
Yes.
I'm going with Colorado, and I think that Gabriel Landeskog is going to be playing in these playoffs at some point. Yeah. And I think that is going to be, even if he's getting the chemotherapy 6 minutes a night. I think that's going to be such a boost for this Avs team. Dallas doesn't have Jason Robertson. He's listed as week to week. I think that's a big loss. So I'm going Colorado.
I agree with you. I have Colorado winning as well. And not only that, but Dallas has kind of been ass lately, if you haven't noticed. I am wondering how the Mikko Rantanen factor comes into play in this series.
Yeah,
up against his old team. I feel like his heart is still in Colorado. I really do. And I know
he didn't want to go.
Yeah, people don't have a lot of sympathy for Rantanen, but I get it, man. He loved it there. wanted to be there, and they're like, no, we're good. We're going to trade you. And I don't know. It's I got Colorado winning, so I got them in 7. It's going to be a hellacious series, but that's what I got. Next up, we've got Vegas and Minnesota. I've got Vegas in 6 because they're better at hockey than Minnesota.
I agree. I got Vegas in 6 as well. I still think Minnesota is going to make it a struggle, but Vegas is just they're too good.
I don't have hatred in my heart for the Minnesota Wild. I want them to do well. I want them to be relevant.
Be relevant, but they're not going to do it against Vegas.
Yeah, no way. And then we've got LA, and Edmonton. I've got the Oilers in 7 because it has to be the most painful way through every series for Edmonton always.
Sure. Go down 0-3, come back and win
Yeah,
4
right,
straight.
yeah. It just has to be.
Yeah, I'm going Edmonton again. This matchup, does it? I feel like we've seen this 3 times in the last 3 years. I think it's still Edmonton, even with the health issues and kind of some questions still with them. I still think they're better than LA, so I'm going to Edmonton.
All right, back to the East. I've got Tampa taking down Toronto to advance to the Eastern Conference Final.
I got the Leafs.
Ooh,
I got the Leafs. I've got Leaf fever. I have an appointment tomorrow to get checked out, but no, I just think that they've been playing really well coming into the playoffs. You win the Atlantic Division. I think there might be a sense of like this might be it with this group. Not knowing what Mitch Marner is going to do in the offseason, if he's going to actually hit free agency or if he's going to find a new contract there. But I'm not going to call it last dance vibes, but I think there might be an air of that, and that might motivate this group to get it done. So I'm going to go with the Leafs. I'm probably going to eat my words, but I'll go with them.
All right. I've got Carolina taking down Montreal. So I've got a Tampa, Carolina Eastern Conference Final. Again, I think Montreal has a lot of vim and vigor, if you want to call it that, and they've got a lot of momentum and vibes and everything, but Carolina is just too strong defensively, too well coached. And I think this is like that first playoff year for the Hawks right before the dynasty started for the Canadians, where it's like the lesson, right? The hard lesson of, all right, this is what it takes. This is where you got to get. And then they're going to be good for years to come. So I think their luck runs out in the second round against Carolina.
I also have Carolina advancing, but I have them advancing over the Capitals. Yeah, I think they're a really well-built team. I think they're a well-structured team, well-coached team. And I think eventually it'll catch up to the Capitals that, maybe they're not that good or that deep or well-built. So I think Carolina gets past them, gets the Eastern Conference Final.
All right. In my second round, I've got Winnipeg and Colorado. I've got Colorado winning that one. Just again, gut feel. I think Colorado is really good. I think some people have sort of started to take them for granted a little bit. And I do think that Landeskog's going to be a factor. Maybe not in the first round. Maybe he kind of sneaks in if they need him. But as he gets his, energy back and gets his conditioning back, I think he's going to be a factor in these playoffs. So I've got Colorado beating Winnipeg.
Yeah, I also have Colorado beating Winnipeg. I think there's, a lot of the narrative around Colorado is just like, oh, they're, the depth isn't there, but I think they have enough pieces that, and especially after the trade deadline, I think they kind of remedied a little bit of that, that narrative around like the depth of the team. And then your elite players are, 2 of them are in the top 5 of the NHL with McKinnon and Makar. So yeah, I got Colorado over Winnipeg.
The high end is so high end. And I think Martin Necas is going to make a big name for himself in these playoffs too, because I think Carolina kind of toils in obscurity because of their market and just the national interest, but him being on Colorado is going to be big for his brand, especially when you look at the, first round against Dallas is probably the most appealing first round matchup in the West. And then if it's them in Winnipeg, that is again the most compelling. So I like that. I've also got Vegas beating Edmonton in the second round. injuries with the Oilers, man. There's a lot of them. No one seems really healthy on that team. Vegas is strong. They're always strong. They're always great. So I've got a Colorado Vegas Western Conference final.
I too have Colorado and Vegas in the Western Conference final. I think Vegas's defensive structure, I think, finds a way to stop Edmonton, and I wonder if Edmonton's runs in the last few years catch up to them. And I know Vegas has had some deep runs too in the last number of years, but I think that they've got the guys to be able to handle it, and I think that they've been there before, and I think Vegas is just fractionally stronger than Edmonton, so I got Vegas.
All right, so you've got for your Eastern Conference final Leafs and Hurricanes. Which way are you going?
I need a temperature check because my fever is intensifying. I have the Maple Leafs getting to the Stanley Cup final, and I'm glad we're doing the show without Greg today because he'd be all over me. But there just seems to be a feeling of the way this team is playing, the depth pieces that they've had come up over the last few seasons that they haven't had in recent years past. With this core group still going forward, I really do feel like this is a team that feels like this might be their last push, and I think this year they make the most of it.
Yeah, I have to say my decision between Toronto and Tampa was the hardest one that I had to make, but I did ultimately choose Tampa, and I have them beating Carolina as well. So I've got Tampa in the Stanley Cup final.
Always the bridesmaid, Carolina.
Right? I know. I don't know what it's going to take.
It just never feels like they have that extra step to get to the final.
They should have traded for one of the game's great power forwards. Oh, wait, they did. And then they traded him because he didn't like it there. Western Conference final, I've got Colorado and Vegas. I've got Colorado advancing to the Cup final. I think they did a good job addressing their goaltending. Like we mentioned earlier, top end is very, very top end, and you need that in the playoffs. And I do think, as much as I sort of poo-pooed the notion of Brock Nelson as like this game-changing, like, why is this guy so revered? I think a guy like that in the playoffs is invaluable. So I like the moves they made. I like their goaltending. I like Colorado to advance to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, the goaltending is going to be interesting to see how it holds up. But if it does, they're definitely poised, and I'm a believer that it will. I also have them going over Vegas to the Cup final. If we get 7 games of Colorado and Vegas,
oh hell yeah,
I'll be very happy.
Sign me up. Well, I think we might, and that leads me to my Stanley Cup pick. I am taking the Lightning to beat the Avalanche for the Stanley Cup because I do think you look at Colorado's path. The likely path is Dallas, Winnipeg, Vegas to get to the Cup final.
Yeah,
that is a grind, and I think they might just be worn the F out by the Cup final. So surprisingly, I have the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup. If you asked me this morning before I pricked my bracket who it was gonna be, I don't know if that would have been my answer, but going through it and thinking about it, I like the Lightning to win the Cup.
Yeah. I mean that's not a bad pick. I mean, there's 4 or 5 teams here that I think are legitimate favorites, and you could talk me into any one of them.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a great group to pick from. And I think Colorado, if they get to the Cup final, like you said, through their possible path here, and the path we both have them going on, that's not going to be a lot of gas left in the tank when it comes to the Cup final. Luckily, they'd be playing the Leafs, so
you can't
in my bracket at least. So that would mean Gabriel Landeskog is on the ice lifting the cup again. I would have the Colorado Avalanche beating the Leafs in my Stanley Cup final.
All right. I thought the fever was going to carry on, but no. Your fever breaks in the Cup final.
Yeah, I took some ibuprofen. It's fine.
Good work. All right. Well, they start tomorrow at 5. So again, diehards, get your picks in on our Discord. That's where you can find the link. So join that. Get the link. Sign up. Puck drops at 5 p.m. tomorrow Blues, and Jets. So get those picks in there quickly. You've got just over 24 hours to do it. So do that. If you're not a diehard yet, see that QR code on your screen right now? Scan it. It'll take you right to our sign-up page to become a diehard. If you're listening on the podcast, you can go to allchgo.com, navigate over to that diehard tab, and join from there. $36 will get you the entire year and the free shirt or hat and the 20% off all of our merch beyond that, and 20% off all of our takeovers, golf outings, draft parties, the Cubs watch party at Potawatomi included, 20% off everything. So for $36, you're basically just paying for the shirt, and everything else is,
and then you get
gravy.
all the perks. Yeah.
So take advantage. It's not going to last forever. Take advantage of that sale while it's still going. We'd love to have you as part of our diehards here. And again, if you do, you're going to get into our bracket challenge, and you're going to win a CHGO shirt or hat, and all the other perks that come along with it. So do that, join it, and that's it. We're going to talk to everybody Monday, 2:00 showtime on Monday. We're going to experiment with some different times. I think we're aiming for 2:00 during the off season for scheduling purposes. So we'll see how it goes. Let's hope. And we'll talk to you then. Mailbag Monday? Perhaps. We'll let you know. I know we want to talk to PD soon, too. He's got some Oliver Moore and Frank Nazar thoughts. So that'll come next week as well. But we'll talk to you Monday, 2 p.m. right here on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast, presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.